Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Alma Cox. Today is my final reading of the novel Calling Dolores, which I published 5 years ago. This is chapter 4 of part 1. If you're interested in reading more, there's a link to Amazon down below where you can find the book. I welcome any questions or comments you might have. I would greatly appreciate your feedback as to what you're thinking about the novel. And I'm just grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you're here, you're listening. I hope you have something wonderful to drink. And now I'm just going to invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this final reading. Chapter 4. Let me get cozy. Love that you're calling this magical realism, Soul continues. An apt description for your life, I'd say. Bravo. It's a narrative strategy, I say dryly. That's all. Brought to life by Latin American writers like you, trying to make sense of separate realities, which is exactly what we're up to. I'm just giving this idea free range. Let me expand it. No, you know I like control. You're invisible. It's my ass on the line, a target for ridicule. You know my imagination can be, I become silent a moment and then whisper, feral. And freaky, she adds. I'm in trouble. Soul is totally ignoring my game plan. Not cool. I put the laptop aside and lay my head down on the oversized hotel pillow. So scary to feel like a fool. I try to breathe into the anxiety this fear creates. I admit, when I'm off her step, I spend a lot of time spinning my wheels. In the early days of creating artwork, I lived in Oregon and had an opportunity to show and sell my work at a juried art show in San Francisco called Celebration of Craftswomen. It was a really big deal. Feng Shui design was very popular at the time, so I thought I'd capitalize on that. In a short period of time, I made a bunch of art driven by fear that my personal art wasn't good enough, at the root of which lived the belief that I'm not good enough. Depleted emotionally and physically when the show weekend arrived, I sold one piece. We could talk about all the realistic reasons why I didn't sell more, some very convincing ones, like maybe I'm not very good at what I do, or I could have attributed it to the economy. The thing is, I sold the one piece I made inspired by my soul titled Journey Home. A landscape piece of a river cutting through rock, a metaphor for ways of thinking that no longer served me. It sold for $600, the exact fee for the show. I didn't sell the 12 others that were motivated by what I thought would sell. My soul decided that for this experience, I was better served learning to make art for no one other than her. If I had been motivated by making art in the name of beauty, perhaps she would have worked with me. But we'll never know, since I was motivated by a feeling of lack. Little by little, trust in my soul grew. All was well as long as I stayed grateful. All was well for 15 years as an artist until it wasn't anymore. Then, trust in my soul became tenuous. This is so banal. I was in my early 40s when chaos struck and blindsided my cozy cocoon. A midlife crisis between, I'm warning you, this is akin to fingernails on a chalkboard, having so much already, and, drumroll please, having it all. Only in California, am I right? No one died, we didn't lose our home, no one became ill, which made the dissatisfaction that entered my life all the more mortifying. I found it painstakingly difficult to be grateful, and it was during this time I needed to find work to help pay for Tad and Melena's college. Not my most stellar performance. It is ridiculous as I look back at my full life that I could gripe about anything. It is embarrassing for me to even talk about it, but my job has been to stay open, and I guess that means my life too must be this open book for you to read. Whatever, I'm over it. It has been much harder to avoid and resist my soul's creative agenda, so believe me when I suggest it is much easier to be a willing participant. I needed a good kick in the sassy pants to begin the unraveling of my poorly pieced persona. During this time, Joseph Campbell's inspired but haunting phrase, "follow your bliss," stalked me like a shadow. The words were everywhere, on a t-shirt on a woman roller skating through Golden Gate Park as I licked my wounds after another unsuccessful weekend where I didn't sell any art at an open studios event. I saw them stenciled and spray painted on Valencia Street in San Francisco on another day after an interview at a gallery. They said I could have the job if I wanted it, but I didn't think it was enough money. I told Kyle all the reasons why it wasn't a good fit, except that one. "Can you believe they don't even offer parking?" I asked, aghast. "It's not like they owe you parking, Dolores. They did offer you a job," he said. "I really think I need to follow my bliss," I said, misusing the spirit of Joseph Campbell's words. "And what is that?" Kyle asked. "You need a job. One in art sounds pretty blissful since you love art." The theme of not feeling like I was enough was on its return cycle. My ego ran to money to feel worthy and deserving, one of soul's little ways of motivating me to be more. So then, while I brooded on Bart after reading a disappointing email telling me I didn't get another job, video editing for a technology company, a full-framed woman sat next to me, actually on me. As I sighed heavily under the weight of the side of her body, she lifted her bag covered with uplifting quotes, including "follow your bliss," and practically placed it on my arm. Soul is always showing me I have it all. The signs are always obvious, and yet I don't believe them. Why is that? Until this point, I believed two things were responsible for creating the good in my life: luck and life owed me. I was lucky to not have landed in a similar life to the women in my family. Lucky to have a supportive husband, great kids, and nice homes throughout our marriage. It was pure luck I had decent talent. With this luck came guilt for having blessings and the many opportunities people in my family never had. Not owning the good was keeping me from receiving more good. Running parallel was a feeling of entitlement given my sucky past. I'll tell you what else was obvious: an ego with a propensity to bail when the going got tough. "I don't think I have what it takes to get a real job," I said to Kyle one night. Reality check time. Kyle didn't raise his voice. He was just matter of fact when he said, "We can't keep living here in Marin County and put Tad and Mel through college. We're not saddling our kids or ourselves with loans. You choose a job or we move." We lived in a sweet craftsman bungalow in a historic part of San Rafael. I'm way ahead of you. I'm spoiled too, in case you hadn't formulated that opinion of me already. I've had many great opportunities in life, like staying home with my kids because I wanted to, and an art career, but I didn't know how to receive and appreciate these. As I saw it, life continually withheld things or took them away. Reality was the bad guy, and since Kyle was part of my reality, I blamed him too. I had a tantrum like a toddler when Kyle said we'd move from Marin. We had words that night. Mine don't matter. Defensiveness is never worth repeating. A self-fulfilling prophecy was underway. Even Marin folks with money don't want art, I told my friends. All this was layered on my childhood family's horror story of joblessness. My thoughts were laden with limitation. Nobody buys art, I'm unemployable, too old, etc. Kyle's last quiet words before I left the room, slammed the door, were, "You're being selfish and immature." His disappointment hit me like a rock, but he was right. My last thought before I drifted off to sleep on the couch was, I'll be damned if history repeats itself. Come hell or high water, I can do this, meaning I will get the great job. I have since learned to temper my use of the words, "I can do this." Words pack some serious phenomenon-making power. Speaking of phenomenal power, my soul says, see what I mean? "Dolores, it's time to deepen the dialogue. You're getting repetitive. As we say in the biz, show, don't tell." But the reader needs context. They don't want blavel woo-woo, and they certainly don't need your uninvited omniscience. I whisper scream so my hotel neighbors don't hear me. There's a long silence that follows my reticence, and I am momentarily relieved. Perhaps Soul will just let me have this one. What's the point of being the author of my own life if I can't narrate, right? I get up to stretch. The room feels less tense. Perhaps Soul sees my point. I imagine her floating out of the Omni Hotel, giving me a break for the night. Maybe she's gone to check out the new lights on the clock tower on the Embarcadero. That would be right up her alley. She's big on illuminating time. It's one of her themes. I lay on the plush carpet, roll backwards onto my upper back, legs shoot up, and I stare at my feet. A rush of blood swooshes into my head. Curses. So oxygenating. Oh, who am I kidding? I can't lie anymore. She's authored me into being. It's her show. And I need her way more than she needs me. One old belief remains. I'm the lucky one here. Or blessed, depending on the perspective. It's not her handwriting I see on the wall, but on the pen on the ground next to the night table. I roll my butt back down, get up haughtily, and realize, oh my freaking goddess, omnipotence has just played me again. I feel her omnipresence vibrating in the dark pit of my stomach. The waves travel up to my oversized heart. My arm instinctively moves down to comfort the nausea, but it's too late. She's covertly made the connection in my head, and I am dizzy with her stratagem. I realize Her Holiness, my omniscient narrator, gave me fair warning here at the Omni. She always has me where she wants me. She is so visionary, I can't stand it. Make no mistake, Dolores de Leon, she booms like a big old wizard head projection. I gasp. Soul has never raised her voice at me, not this loud. I decide who needs who and what more is needed. Yeah, I know, I pretty much just said that, but I play along. What choice do I have, really? I grip a fistful of Egyptian cotton sateen sheets to my chin as room service knocks on the door. I quickly scan the room for a place to hide. I move cautiously toward the door, open it, and then I take a seat at the table. Where would you like me to set your creme brulee and champagne, Miss de Leon? Asks a young gentleman, Rafi, it says on his name tag. His voice is distant. It echoes off the shiny silver dome cover that he lifts off the tray and bounces back to me in a most unsettling way. Light pours through the window, does a backflip off the lip of the dome too, and splashes my eyes. Blindingly bright possibilities surround me. But why are they so frightening? Rafi gives the napkin a little snap like a wet towel before he lays it on my lap. He takes 2 steps back, and did he just spin before taking a step forward? It's as if, wait, I can't believe it. Life is the dancer and I am the dance. As I rack my brain about who I just misquoted, I'm sorry, Eckhart Tolle, I gasp again, not because of the perfectly choreographed service I'm receiving, but because of who I hear loud and clear. Mary Poppins, all up in my head. Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down, the medicine go down, the medicine go down. The rich deliciousness, my favorite part, suddenly looks trapped under that thin veil of fired sugar on my brulee, and I am utterly filled with dread. I beg you, Soul, don't embarrass me. The champagne's bubbles uncomfortably remind me of boiling water. I take a sip anyway. Don't tell him about, you know, gulp. The young man hands me silverware. Will there be anything more, Miss de Leon? Rafi asks from the door. I nod, no, but inside I tremble. I lift the decorative mint leaf from the dessert's center. I just want to run for cover back under those sweet sheets, but it's too late. I'm on autopilot now. I crack the surface. Soul fills my silver spoon. And that's the end of part 1. It's a short chapter. So thank you again, you guys. If you like this video, thanks for giving it a thumbs up, and thank you for subscribing if you haven't yet. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Happy creating, and thank you again for listening. Bye.